Hey, my name is Ryan from Yushu, and today I'm going to do a little experiment. Let me tell you what led up to this. So, as you may know, I do a lot of boot videos right now, but I really am a dress shoe guy. I started with Allen Edmonds. I've had like over 50 pairs of Allen Edmonds, and I got into Allen Edmonds Shell Cordovan shoes, and I've been maintaining my Shell shoes a certain way. But I wanted to try something a little different and experiment a little bit with my brown Shell strands. And basically, what happened was I got these when I was a little bit newer into the Shell arena, and I used a regular calfskin boot cream on these that was brown. And what it did is kind of got rid of all the luster of the Shell Cordovan. And I've always just worn them like that. It didn't make it, it wasn't a big deal, but and now I've stripped all the shoe cream off of it. I know a little bit more about Shell. I know the beauties of Shell. Before, when I saw like the different colors, I thought, oh, that makes it look really cheap. Now I appreciate Shell Cordovan. I appreciate that, the panels that you get from a side of Shell is just not very big. So you're going to have to, take from different animals possibly, and you're going to get a little bit different colors. And that's kind of the beauty of Shell Cordovan rather than a downside. So I wanted to recondition these. Now, I remember reading an article years back from Kirby Allison, who really recommended us to Sapphire Renovator to condition Shell Cordovan. But I've always used just Venetian shoe cream to condition Shell Cordovan. Basically, this is Horween's Shell Cordovan, and this is what Horween recommended. So I've used this, but I've always wanted to see what it would compare to if I use Sapphire over the Venetian shoe cream. So that's what I'm going to do in this video. I'm going to do one shoe with the Venetian, one shoe with the Sapphire, one shoe with the Venetian. And then we're going to compare, we're going to see how they look, what's the luster like, and I'm only going to do one coat. It's going to be kind of a quick and dirty video, but we'll see how they work out. And because I am a boot YouTuber now, I also want to do this pair of Craft and Glory boots. What's interesting about this pair of Craft and Glory boots, I just kind of finished breaking them in, and it's a nice pull up. It's a buffalo leather, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of a Chrome XL because of the pull up especially. And I want to see how this was done, or how this will affect this leather using Sapphire or Venetian. Now, with Sapphire, I really, have this more for my calfskin stuff, but I want to see what's it going to look like. Is it going to be better? Is it going to be worse? Is Venetian always the way to go? Is Sapphire the way to go? Let's just have some fun and make this video. So I'm not going to show you actually applying all this stuff because it's kind of awkward on camera, but what I'll do now is I'll apply to these shoes on the left, the Sapphire, to these shoes on the right, the Venetian, and we'll look at it before brushing. We'll talk a little bit about it, and then we'll move on to the next step. Hindsight, I really probably should have shown you me putting the cream on, even though it wasn't that interesting, but a couple observations from putting the cream on, other than it would have looked, it was kind of awkward, and trying to film myself doing some of this is just kind of a comedy of errors. So just be fortunate that you didn't get to see that. The Venetian shoe cream smells better. The Sapphire, it is way more potent, which can be a good thing if it's, providing more conditioning. The Venetian shoe cream always is this weird feeling because it's thick, but then it goes on and it kind of feels like water as it dries. So it can be a little bit harder to apply an even coat with the Sapphire. I don't know, it seemed like it was fairly easy to do an even coat. You can see with the Venetian shoe cream, it kind of gunks up in the broguing, which that will come out when I buff the shoes, but just something to note. And so they're both fairly dull now, and so it hasn't been buffed out. The key is buffing these out, and we're going to see the results. But for now, they look almost identical. And let me see. You see that? There's my... Let me try to buff it with this camera setup. It's going to be awkward, but let's just try it. I'm going to put a couple of the shoes out of the way. Grab this, and I'm going to do them all with this brush, which is like a super... it's a super no-no for a shoe guy, but I'm just not one of those types of shoe guys. So let's see, as I buff it, if you can start seeing the luster come out. And Shell's amazing because Shell's like self-healing. Once you do this, all you'll have to do after you wear it is buff it. Even if you get a scratch, and it's going to look really good. You know, I'm just going to do it a little bit to each shoe. And off camera, I'm going to do it more because I want you to see. So there's the Sapphire buffed, Venetian not buffed. Let's buff this one real quick. All right. I should have put the opposite shoes because this is going to drive me crazy. There's your difference. What do you think? I'm forming an opinion, but I'm going to buff these off camera and we'll come back. If you're ever trying to get a shine, the best thing I've always found is after you use the horsehair brush to kind of buff the shoes, then you finish it off with a cloth and that will really bring up the luster. So let me do that. All right, I buffed them. Now, let me start this with saying that I am the definition of a layman. I am just a guy who likes to take care of the shoes that I buy. I am not a professional. There's probably way better advice on this, but to my unskilled eye, what I'm seeing is that the Sapphire does give you a little bit more of a gloss on that first go. Even with the pull-up Buffalo, it's just a little bit glossier. They're both really good. They're both work. These shoes look way better than they did before I worked on them. So I don't think there's anything, can't go wrong with either of them. I just think that you're going to get a little bit more of a shine with the Sapphire. Both really good products, but Sapphire, and yes, Sapphire costs a little bit more. So that makes sense. So that's my opinion. If you have experience with this, comment what you think down below. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.